One New Change has been open for 12 weeks now, and of course we're adjacent to St Paul's in a stunning building with a stunning roof terrace which we're now standing on. We have our fit out guide, which is all about trying to be as sustainable as possible in terms of the fit out, and really working with our retailers to encourage them to use lighting that is sustainable.
Lighting helps sell products, and lighting is crucial to any retailer and commercial person wanting to actually show their products off to best advantage. But obviously lighting has a high use of energy, and in many premises lighting can consume around 40% of the total energy usage of that building, and so it's crucial that actually energy efficiency is part of the lighting package.
Well, there are so many inefficient light sources out in the retail market at the moment. A lot of retailers don't have the money to spend on refurbishing, refitting their stores, and they really need to start looking at taking out all this inefficient lighting. Problem is cost, as always, against budget, against the look of LED or replacement lighting. And what we're looking at now is potentially coming up with some finance packages that might help them spread cost, the replacement of this lighting, over 2 or 3 years, depending on what the payback periods are.
Some of the items we discussed this morning about colour rendering and lumen maintenance and life, those are all questions that were asked a couple of years ago to the LED manufacturers and driver manufacturers, and are pretty much solved now. The colour rendering's there, the life's there, it's been proved, and I think the next education process is from the light fitting manufacturer, the OEM, to those retailers and to the lighting specifiers.
Yes, LED technology I believe is now at the stage where it's ready for mass adoption. The colour rendering's right, the maintenance benefits are there, but there's a massive need for education and for us to deal with misinformation and mis-selling that's happened in the past.
What's clear to me is that there is a place for LEDs. What also is clear to me is that we have to work harder about getting the message across. When we touched on issues of colour rendering, there seemed to be a pervasive attitude that the colour rendering of LEDs is lacking somewhat and holding things back. And here's an example. It's not true. We are on a par, even with halogen, actually, if you pick the better quality LED modules.
Well, here's a really interesting example we've seen here. Foyles, a new bookshop lit totally with LEDs, and a very interesting effort. Still not there yet in terms of the delivery of colour quality, illumination level, but amazing to think that we've got so far in such a short time with LEDs, really. The key problems at the moment are still relatively high capital cost, luminous efficacy, which doesn't really excel compared with HID or fluorescence, so we need more lumens for less watts, and we need better colour. And the colour is colour and sparkle. I mean, I've done a couple of survey studies for retailers, and the ones who are selling merchandise that sparkle, they are still disappointed in LEDs. It's still a problem.
Lighting in retail is all about light and shade, and it's about you have to have a level of dimness to be able to get the brightness to shine through. LEDs have got a function in that. We're using them already. We tend to use them in secondary roles. In the not too distant future, I'm sure they're going to come through in a primary role. But at the moment, for retailers, and especially in fashion retail, it's all about colour rendition, and it's about getting your product highlighted. It's about hotspots and customer journeys, pulling people through stores.
We've had 2.5 years where there's been no real retail sales growth, and in many ways, a lot of retailers have seen it going negative. They've taken a lot of operational costs out, but there's one really big opportunity left, which is energy efficiency. And a lot of them are just, at the moment, not really addressing it. And you have to look and say 2011, 2012, we're still looking at low retail sales growth. It's a great opportunity to take a big chunk of costs out. It's really something they should be addressing right now.
Retailers with 60, 100, 300 stores plus have got aged estates, and the aged estates are the areas where energy efficiency is particularly poor. It's kind of a combination of things. It's education, it's management of the estate, it's kind of looking at retrofit solutions, but it's understanding them. So if we just take a simple product, an MR16 50 watt, and we look at a simple solution which is a 30 watt IRC lamp, that will give you 30% energy save. The simple fact is that even with that information, retailers are reluctant to change, and that's about understanding and education. And without that, aged stores are going to remain very inefficient, and they're going to be very energy hungry.
And there is a lot of education that retail clients have to be sort of led through by lighting consultants, and that's part of the consultant's role, to educate the client, to actually communicate to them why the proposals that we're doing are the best for them, why we're doing the change in tact to what they had before, or maybe tweaks, depends where they are. But overall, the key drive is making them have a trust to lighting consultants, that they know what their retail drives are to sell the products, to keep the brand, but on the other hand, to make it more value for money, energy efficient, maintainable. There is a level of trust that over the time everybody needs to get between themselves.
What's come true today is that a lot of high street retailers are still wedded to very high light levels, and moving them away from that towards higher contrast and just general lower light levels, especially on the walkways and areas where there's no merchandise. And that is the challenge that we face, because that is where the energy savings will be.
There seems to be this will to drop light levels among retailers, which is great. We're also seeing the ever increasing improvement in LED performance. So there are two curves happening there. The light levels are falling, the performance of LEDs is going up. So the hitting point is actually getting a little bit closer than we're maybe predicting. Energy is a big topic. Energy prices are rising. They know that they need to reduce energy, and often retailers come to us and they want to reduce energy, and that's almost number one or number two on their hit list. So legislation is helping that and perhaps hurrying them along on that, but the sheer fact that they can save a lot of money is a big issue for them.
I think legislation is the way to go, because there are responsible designers who will consider all these elements, but you've got to find something that everyone can apply and have the same level playing field.